Good morning from Go to the Maldives. So my name is Heidi Grimwood. I am the digital marketer at Go to the Maldives. And what I thought I'd do is a series of live Facebook chats with my work colleagues out in the Maldives, who I'm working very closely with, having a wonderful time, helping them market local guest houses and the beautiful local islands out in the Maldives. So the great thing is that you now don't have €1 million to go off to the Maldives. You don't need to win the lotto. Everybody can experience. There she is. We got there in the end.
Hooray!
This morning. Everyone can experience the Maldives now, which is what I'm so excited about, even if digital technology will challenge us for 20 minutes. But I think the great thing about you and I and how we met up and everything was our passion to actually really get the word out there to people about being able to visit the local islands, and also really for people to really see what I see the real Maldives is like. I suppose for me, I worked on a resort 14 years ago and didn't get to see the real life of what was out there. So let's just backtrack now, because I wasn't expecting you to come online so quick, which is wonderful. So yay and good morning. All right, and so, it's so good. It's so good to be chatting with you. Morning, Lisa. Keep listening in, Lisa, because you're going to be taking the four boys out to the Maldives soon as well. So Ruth, great chatting with you. Secret Paradise Maldives is your company. Explain a little bit more for everyone that's watching, exactly, how you come to set up Secret Paradise and what's your history with the Maldives.
Okay, so in a nutshell, I was in the right place at the right time. I'd been fortunate to discover the Maldives through my dive buddy, Romney, who you all know from Boutique Beach. And I'd been visiting the Maldives diving for over 10 years. And I was working for a retailer in the UK, for British Home Stores. And I had begun my service at a point in time when I'd reached 25 years, I was allowed to take extended holiday for 1 year. So I took 12 weeks and came to the Maldives to do my dive master. And while I was here, through friends, met a businessman, and it was the year after the laws had changed to allow guest houses to operate on local islands. And we got chatting. He was an engineer by trade and was very pro-resort because he was working on resorts doing reclamation programs and island protection. And I was trying to convey to him how by having local island tourism, guests would be able to learn more about the Maldives as a country, be able to travel and see more islands. And obviously it opened up the Maldives from an affordability point of view.
Yeah.
So we had two very casual discussions, thought nothing more of it, went back to the UK, went back to my job. And then he called me up around 6 weeks after I'd been back and said, "I've thought more about what you were talking about. Shall we start something?" So I was very lucky and very fortunate in that it was a case of, if I don't do it, I'll be sat in my rocking chair thinking, what if? And if I came out and we did something and it didn't work out, I would go back to retail. So started in do something that would allow people to discover the Maldives and the hospitality of the locals that I'd experienced during all my visits over that period of time. And also because local tourism was still in its infancy, for me, I also saw Secret Paradise being a platform to help promote and market local tourism and guest houses. So that's when we were born.
Wonderful. How long ago was that now?
So 2012 we started operating. So
awesome. Okay.
So 7 years.
And so, like, I'm on this side now. You're out in the Maldives. I'm on the other side, chatting to people all the time. They're always saying, "Go to the Maldives." All this, you're constantly out there. You must be really rich, and I'm like, clearly not. But trying to explain to people that we all have a budget to now visit the Maldives. I've done the maths now on even people that this time of year especially that are going to Spain and Portugal or anywhere really in Europe, and it's actually as cost effective to go out to the Maldives this time of the year, hence why we spent all summer there last year, because it would have been the same, if not more, to stay here than it would have been to go out to the Maldives. So what kind of people are actually coming to you, and what kind of tours are they taking them when they're coming to you?
Okay, we're quite lucky. We get a very diverse range of guests coming. So we get solo travelers, we get people who are traveling as couples, people who want to travel as part of a larger group on a scheduled tour,
Mhm.
and we get friends and family mixing together. And we've also had the odd celebrity or two. I'd like to
Oh, go
pop
on,
that
name
in
drop
there.
then.
Uh,
Name drop, go on.
Name drop. So a very special one was John Turode. He came and did some cooking with us,
You did, and you
and
were on
that was
TV as
great.
well, weren't you? It was fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
he is our favourite celebrity visitor.
Oh,
So in terms of those people that are coming, they have a very broad range in terms of budget, so they can be very tight in terms of their budget, backpacker style, or there are those that are coming that have, in case of some, money's no object, or they're just a general average person who has a holiday budget and they want to get as much value for their money as they possibly can, which with local tourism, that allows people to do that. So regardless of how much money you can either do a 7 night holiday and it's a $50 a night guest house, or you can do a mid-range tour where you've got a guide with you and you're traveling and visiting 2 or 3 different local islands. You've got activities in there, you've got some of your meals in there, you've got cultural experiences, or you've got those that want to stretch their budget and may do 7 nights on a local island and then can afford to do some nights at a resort as well. But to do 2 weeks at a resort would have been out of their pocket. But with local island tourism, it's allowing people to have that flexibility on how and where they spend their money within the Maldives.
yeah, that makes sense. Now, like, I suppose when we're looking kind of this side of the world, then, and if we see kind of a guest house, bed and breakfast, that would be quite low budget in comparison, we'd think, oh, it's probably a bit rubbish, we're probably going to get real basic facilities, it's not going to be great. So, what would you say to those people that are a little bit dubious when they're seeing these low budget guest houses? Now, I've seen them and they're absolutely stunning. But for people that haven't seen them, what would you say to people that might be dubious about the, going on to these places?
I think what happens is that because people are so used to looking at the dollar per night from a resort perspective,
Yeah.
and then you go to the end of the extreme in terms of guest houses, they make that comparison based on what I might get at a resort versus what a $50 room night's going to look like.
Yeah.
And for $50 or less, you're likely to get a clean, standard facility room with ensuite, AC, access to Wi-Fi in a nice environment. Spend a little bit more, $80 to $125. You might get yourself an ocean view room with perhaps a little bit more modern decor and facilities. And then you've got those that are pushing the boutique style hotel property, which in all honesty are probably delivering service and standards that you would expect to pay for on a resort. So as with all
Yeah.
destinations, there is a wide spectrum of what you are going to get in terms of that price range. And I guess, as a lot of people say, the price you pay is what you get. But I think in terms of this perception of you're paying 30, 40, $50 a night and it's going to be a bit of a room that you might shack up if you're going to Asia and you're backpacking,
Yeah.
it's not at that level.
No. And I suppose you guys as well, like you go out and vet all of the properties before they even come and partner up with you. So,
That's right. Yeah.
everything that you're going to be recommending is going to be to the best standards, to your standards, so everyone can be comfortable with
Yeah.
that.
And I
And
think in
then
terms of
go on.
there's so many review processes online as well, isn't there? So my advice would
Yeah.
always be check out what the review sites are saying. And if you are looking to book through somebody, such as Secret Paradise and not independently, then yes, people like ourselves, certainly we audit all of our properties on an annual basis. I've gone and stayed in some of ours as a mystery guest when we first came out and people didn't know who I was. So I'm looking to ensure that what I would expect as a guest or as a tourist is what we're delivering to our guests.
Absolutely. And then like, what I loved about you guys was, and we've had first-hand experience of it as a family, are your fabulous tour guides. And we've had the best time with them because, we visited different islands and you'll get a little bit of information. But when we were with Coco, I went on a tour actually to
Please
Villamali.
don't name dropping. Don't
Is he going to
name
get a
drop
big
him.
head?
Yeah, so if we mention Yubi and Kame and Mahi and Mash,
Oh, we
otherwise
won't have talked
Coco
about
will be.
Tammy's blog writing skills. Anyway, fabulous. So when we were out on the tour, like I went to Villa Male, which it was a day tour, and that was when I first came out last year in February. And what I loved was that I didn't really know what to expect from the tour, and there was so much information about ecotourism, what they're doing to look after the environment, and all those different areas. So I learned so much that day, as well as experiencing Hidika, which is the local afternoon snacks, and just meeting local residents. And then we went on a tour then after, later on in the year, as a family. And every island that we went to, every part of the experience, we had the tour guide with us, the tour guide, no names. And it was just beautiful because there were so many little bits of information we could get. And any questions we had, even Gracie, who was 9 at the time, any questions she had them answered as well. And again, when you're kind of visiting these places and you're not sure about them yourself, you often come away with a lot of questions. We come away with none. You know, it was absolutely wonderful experience, and we got to experience everything we wanted to. So why did you put together a company where you have the tour guides? Like, what was your thought process behind that?
Okay, twofold, I guess. I had travelled with people like Exodus and Intrepid Travel when I was in my 20s, and I found that by having a tour guide, you were getting to see and learn things exactly as you said that perhaps you wouldn't come across or you wouldn't find the answers to if you were
Mm.
travelling independently. So that was my first thought process in terms of the Maldives doesn't offer this type of tour. Is this something that we can deliver? And then secondly, in terms of here, our guides are so personable in the sense that I'm not saying they're not personable in other destinations, but I think in terms of it's almost like traveling with a friend as
Yeah.
opposed to a tour guide, and that it allows access to things that perhaps other guests won't necessarily have the opportunity to experience. So, for example, a couple of weeks ago, we had guests traveling with us, and one of the guest houses we went to, a member of their family was getting married. So these guests went along and were involved in the wedding and the wedding party
Oh,
afterwards, which
wonderful.
had you booked through booking.com would not give you the
Yeah,
open door in order to experience that.
absolutely. Okay, so we've got all the all-encompassing tours and trips with you guys, which we absolutely love. And then something that we've been heavily involved with over the last few weeks, as the chat worldwide really about the environment and the changes and all the challenges, especially with plastic pollution. You really jumped on the bandwagon there and said, right, you know, I'm an influencer in the industry. I can actually stand up and make a difference with my team and actually, you know, start the process of, you know, developing the awareness out in the Maldives. So you launched hashtag Straw War MV. Tell everyone a little bit more about the initiative behind the Straw War.
Okay, well, as you rightly said, there was a lot of coverage on social media and in the news about single-use plastic. And that particular week, it was Environment Day and World Oceans Day. And I
Mm.
just had one of those light bulb moments as I was running around the island on my evening run, which doesn't happen very often, I must admit, and thought, what can we do to influence and encourage and change the mindset in the Maldives? So the straw seemed to be the obvious point for
Yeah.
me because it was something that all of our guest house properties used, but didn't need to use. The reality is you can drink a coconut, which is very often used as a welcome drink, without a straw. And who needs a straw to drink a glass of juice or a mocktail? So that was really why I took on board the straw thing, because I thought we could do something very easily and very cost effectively and also save money if people weren't purchasing plastic straws. So that's where the idea was born from, and then got a really positive response from a number of our guest house partners,
Mm.
with more now coming on board, and
Brilliant.
also from our guests. We're already seeing guests when they go on their Mali tour, not wanting to use the straw when they have their coconut and just drinking it as we would have done traditionally here. And also we've just got the Environmental Protection Agency on board, and so we're hoping to have the have it endorsed, and from there, hopefully be able to take it to the next level.
That's really exciting. So, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, there's no point in me, you know, getting on this bandwagon because, you know, I can't make a difference. But if everybody just does a little bit, I mean, look at the impact you've made just in a few weeks, which has been amazing. So it just goes to show that all these small steps, and if everyone works together, we can really make a difference. And, you know, we've seen firsthand ourselves on some of the islands where there has been a lot of plastic, a lot of bottles, a lot of straws washed up onto the islands, you know, and there's fantastic efforts that we see. And the next time we come out, we will be involved in it, is the beach cleanups, which I think is a wonderful initiative. You know, everyone's so proud of their islands. Everybody really wants to get involved in it. And, you know, they're very aware that it, you know, the Maldives heavily relies on tourism. So not only that, it's the marine life as well that's really badly being affected if this continues. And, you know, so in order to keep the marine life developing and all of that, you know, all these initiatives need to keep going, and everyone needs to keep plugging at them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of positive work being done by local NGOs and community groups. But certainly the biggest issue we're going to encounter is plastic bottles. And it's obviously a talking point with guests, as you discovered yourself. But plastic bottles are a huge challenge because both the locals and the tourist industry has become heavily reliant on water from plastic bottles because there isn't a positive promotion of tap water. And given that there's a new bottle processing plant being opened in the not too distant future, that challenge, unfortunately, is going to be a long time going away here.
So as a tourist then coming into the Maldives, what can we do to help and to make a difference when we're visiting? Obviously, you know, refusing the plastic straw with our drinks, but is there anything else that we can be doing?
Most certainly, refusing the blue plastic bag that will always be offered you when you go shopping. Leading by example. So even just picking something up off the street and putting it into a bin, it is about educating people and changing a mindset. And if possible, take as much of your plastic rubbish back home with you so that it gets recycled or at least disposed of in a more environmentally friendly way.
Brilliant. We will take that on board for sure. So to finish off, will you give everyone a few tips on how they should book, what they should be doing, because I know that everyone's now ready to come to the Maldives. So what should they be doing now if they want to start the process of booking their trip or inquiring about what kind of trip would be suitable for them, because there's so many different options.
Okay, two ways. They can either take a look at our website, www.secretparadise.mv, and that gives information on all the tours that we provide, both the scheduled tours and those that are private. And we're quite happy to make tailor-make tours, be they day trips or multi-day trips. So then either contact us through the website or drop us an email to sales@secretparadise.mv saying when they're coming, what they want to do, and we can go from there. But in terms of what's on offer, as much or as little as people want to do, guided or unguided. So there's the cultural aspect, there's surfing, there's diving, there's snorkeling, the multi-day tours. We do tours that are based on one island where perhaps they're a bit more specialist, like yoga or culinary. And then we do multi-day ones where we go island hopping, so taking in, I think our maximum is 5 islands now, as well as a couple of boat trips. So yes, this should be something for everybody's needs and desires.
Definitely, and I would highly recommend the Come Dine With Us as well, wherever you go, to actually go and visit a local family and either have breakfast or dinner with them. We've done both, and we still talk about the foods that we experienced. It was absolutely and just great to be in a family environment.
You went back and you did some cooking as well, didn't you? You tried it out yourself.
I attempted it, but I'm very bad. So my next trip, I'm definitely going to go to and have the cooking lessons, actually, because it was quite appalling what I attempted. But yeah, look, the will was there at least.
Sober is waiting for John to come back so he can show her how to make pastry. She's desperate to learn to do pastry, and I'm not great at pastry.
I
So
see, but pastry, apparently you need cold hands and a cold environment for pastry. So she's going to have to stand in like a fridge or something to do it right. That's as much as I know about pastry, but we'll get John back anyway. We'll tag him in a Twitter post and see if he'll come back soon. Ruth, thanks so much for your time today. And guys, if you have any questions, I'm going to make sure that I tag all the details at the bottom of this video. It's going to be saved anyway and put up onto the websites, so you guys can watch it again, and you can also take the information. Say hi to everyone from us here, and we miss you guys, and we'll see you real soon.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.